Welcome to session 5. It's our final session of Fill Your Fridge. And I would like to start with the promises that we have been making to ourselves. And we'll do the same thing. Well, we'll just take turns reading, and I guess it'll be me and you, Natalie. And Ken, you can just repeat in your mind. So if you want to take it, start off with Natalie. Oh, let me share my screen. Okay. Oh, Natalie, are you on mute? I think you're unmuted.
Yep, here I am.
There you are.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. What were you saying? Because I was talking to somebody else.
Oh, it's okay. I'd like to start just by reading that welcome document, the one with the promises to ourselves. If you want to start off, and we'll just alternate, and Ken will be able to sort of be with us in spirit.
Congratulations. You just made an exceptional commitment to yourself and your future. I truly look forward to working with you during the coming exploration of meal planning and healthy eating. I love working with intelligent, motivated clients, and I'm looking forward to our work together.
We'll have amazing sessions where we will discuss your progress, as well as your successes and challenges in looking after yourself. You will experience major changes in your life, and I am honored to contribute to this process.
Since most of this program occurs outside of our sessions, while you're living and eating in your daily life, ultimately the results depend on you. What you put in, you'll get out. Please read and sign the following.
Dearest body of mine, after careful thought and consideration, I hereby promise to honor you as the temple of my soul. I promise to offer you healthy foods and drinks. I promise to realize that you deserve to be healthy.
I promise, where am I?
Overcome.
I promise to overcome the addictions that hurt you. I promise to love and appreciate you for what you do. I promise to accept that I have the power to heal you. I promise to adorn you with nice, comfortable clothes and shoes.
And I promise to realize that laughter, play, and rest help you feel good. I promise to exercise regularly and appropriately for my body type. And I promise to accept you and be grateful for you just the way you are.
I promise to listen to messages you're sending me when you are hurt or sick. I promise to understand that my unexpressed emotions and thoughts affect you.
And I love you so much. All right. So today I have a few things. I want to talk about heart health, eating for heart health, and also the benefits of drinking water. Those are going to be the two new subjects that we'll introduce. And then we're just going to do a review of the information that we've been covering during the course. And we're going to just look at a couple recipes and some ideas for this upcoming week. Before we get into the new information, I just want to hear about how the past week has been for you guys. I apologize for not being as much in communication, but the communication has been a little challenging for me since being out here. So talk to me. How's the week been?
My week's been a little rough. I haven't been feeling that great. I've got a bunch of medical stuff going on, health things going on, so I'm trying to sort that out right now. Not quite sure what it is. So trying to, a lot of indigestion and muscle aches and stuff. So I'm trying to figure out what's causing it.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Have you?
That would be.
Have you gone back to an elimination diet?
No, that's the next thing I'm going to do. I know that I probably need to clean some things up and I'm not sure if that's what it is,
Mm-hmm.
or I'm going through some hormonal things too, so I'm
Mm.
thinking that might be it. Yeah, so I'm all over the place. A little frustrating right now,
Yeah.
but I'll get on top of it.
Yeah. Excellent. I totally understand. Uh, the hormonal stuff is interesting, to say the least.
Yeah, that menopause is just kicking my butt.
But my first line of defense is always just go back to an elimination diet.
Yeah, and when you say that means that just to cut out, um, when you say that, what do you
Anything,
do?
I cut out anything that could cause any kind of a reaction. So for me, I just go back to grains, whole grains, gluten free, dairy free, soy free, nut free, um, and real
I
basic.
I think I'm having problems with digesting greens and stuff.
Okay.
I have a feeling I have like digestive issues going on. So, like eating cabbage and broccoli and stuff, you know. So I
Harder.
think I might have to just I might have to just get rid of the nightshades and the gassy
Yeah.
cruciferous things for now. I don't know. That
Yeah.
might be it.
Are you eating much raw foods or mostly cooked?
No, a little bit of both. The only raw really is my salads and my smoothies.
Yeah, I'd say stay
Um,
away from the salads.
yeah.
If you're not digesting,
So yeah. So I'm not sure because it's kind of hard to pinpoint, but I think that's what I have to do. Just kind of figure out what I need to eliminate.
are you still doing a food
Like
log?
stop eating.
Yeah. Are you doing a food log?
Well, no, I actually am not doing a full log anymore. I need to. I think I've swayed away too much
Yeah.
from what Dr. Beck was telling me, and that's because of my cholesterol stuff. But I think I need to get back on track and see if that's it. Maybe I'm just not eating correctly anymore or on time. I think I've just kind of swayed away from that. So,
Mm.
but it could be just my hormones.
Yeah, the
But it's kind of
indigestion
hard. I'm in
though.
a tough place. Yeah. Well,
Um,
estrogen drops in estrogen and stuff. It really wreaks havoc with digestion, how you digest and
mhm.
stuff. I'm learning a lot of stuff about that. Uh,
But
it's
yeah, the
it's
food log
awesome.
for me is like a godsend
Yeah.
because then
Yeah, so
I
I probably need
keep
to get
track.
back to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, the joys, the joys.
Oh, yeah. So that's where I'm at, just a little miserable,
Mm,
but I'll get past it. I always do.
yeah, that's the thing. Yeah. All right.
Where's the
Well,
rest of the gang? It's just myself and Ken?
yeah, Silvana's in London. She's on vacation.
Oh, oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah, and Robert, he got overloaded with life, so he's been unable to make it.
Oh, no. Okay.
Ken, how has your week been?
It's been pretty good. I have noticed, I've within the healthy eating habits, I've got a couple of my snack type things that I kind of go to more often than maybe I should, like those pre-cooked chicken sausage things. That's pretty good. So they kind of find their way into my stomach a little more than maybe they should. But so I, just getting with the plan. It's been better this week than it was last week because it's not so new anymore. It's kind of getting a little bit more of second nature.
Uh-huh.
I think the one thing is, even though it's really healthy doing that buckwheat in the morning, is just trying to find some ways to spruce up the taste a little bit, because every morning I've been putting the plain Greek yogurt or plain yogurt in it with a little bit of honey on top, and that's good. But after the third day in a row, you don't want to do it anymore. I'm trying to figure out ways of making that taste a little different. And last week when we learned, the thing that's really thrown me is about drinking with meals, and that really has thrown me. I'm trying not to drink with my meals, and it's so foreign to try and drink, a half hour before and 20 minutes after. It's so different than what I'm used to for the past 46 years that it's even though I don't need a drink sometimes, I just do it, and it's just trying to incorporate that, and that's been very difficult. But I think I'm drinking less with meals.
Uh-huh.
So, but that's one thing that's really thrown me, was learning that.
Okay. Well, I'm glad to hear that you are feeling more at ease with the planning and the preparation of your weekly meals. That's fantastic, because that was huge for you in the beginning.
Yep.
And you'll notice the same thing with the water as the weeks go by. We're into our 5th call, which is actually 4 weeks. So it's taken you 4 weeks to be able to say, oh, now I'm starting to feel comfortable. So
right.
with the water, it's been 1 week.
Right. True.
So you'll see
True.
and it's with everything, do the best you can and you'll get there eventually.
Right.
As far as kicking up the flavor of the buckwheat, I know that Lori had mentioned some frozen cherries and some cacao, raw chocolate, and actually that's one thing we're going to look at tonight is chocolate and how wonderful it is for us.
Love it. Yeah, that would be good. And I guess the one thing I also, when you start talking about, the food or liquids with meals, you immediately think, when you go out, you want to have a nice glass of wine with a steak. And I guess I'm going to try and put that in my 80-20, 80% of the time if I could do it right. And at 20% I have a glass of wine or, a scotch or something like that with dinner, then that's what I'm going to do.
Perfect. And the cool thing is, something else we're going to talk about is that wine or scotch or alcohol in general, in moderation, is good for heart health.
Yay.
Talking. I'm listening.
So let's just go straight to heart health because it sounds like it's perfect. And I'm going to share my screen here. And I've got just one of my ubiquitous handouts with a few tips for eating for our hearts. And the first tip, which I found so interesting, was keep your mouth healthy. Now, can you guys think of any reasons why you might want to keep your mouth healthy? What would that have to do with your heart?
Well, when I had my dog, they said that a lot of the problems inside your pet starts in its mouth, so they're always big on keeping the teeth clean. And they actually talked about heart health with dental health on the dog. And I figure it's the same. If it's a dog, it'll work for me too.
It's true. So 3 of the reasons why Harvard Medical School suggests that your oral health may affect your heart health are some of the bacteria found in cases of periodontitis have been found in the plaque that can build up on arterial walls, and that can lead to high blood pressure and heart attacks. So those bacteria can travel. Also, the oral bacteria can release toxins that resemble proteins found in cell walls, and this can trigger the immune system to attack the cell wall by accident. A third reason is that inflammation in any part of the body can affect the heart and can cause inflammation in heart disease. So those are just 3 of the reasons why our oral health can affect our heart health. Some foods to eat to assist in fighting the bacteria that could be in your mouth and that could be traveling throughout the rest of your body are fermented foods such as yogurt, sauerkraut, kefir, and kombucha. The live cultures are believed to supply the body with good bacteria to combat the harmful bacteria, and they also support the immune functioning. Raisins are a good source of antioxidants that fight inflammation in the heart and the mouth. So raisins might be something you could add to your buckwheat in the morning. Also, just to add a little flavor. Another thing that we can do for our heart health is eat plenty of soluble fiber. And we talked about fiber when we talked about carbohydrates. And what fiber does for our hearts is that it binds to the bile acids produced by LDL, and it causes them to exit through the body through elimination. So then the body that is then triggered to convert more cholesterol into bile acids, and then you remove it again with the soluble fiber, so you're actually reducing the overall level of cholesterol in the blood, which decreases the risk of heart disease. So beans, whole grains, okra, eggplant, and citrus fruits are all good foods for heart health and for helping lower cholesterol levels. Omega-3s. You want to consume high levels of omega-3s, and we talked about this last week when we talked about fats. And omega-3s lower levels of triglycerides in the blood. Oily fish, such as tuna and salmon, walnuts and flax seeds are all really good foods to eat for omega-3s. And I have a couple recipes. One recipe for tonight for salmon. We've got a recipe that includes quinoa and walnuts. We've got another recipe that has walnuts and flax seeds and raw cacao. So number 4 is eat plenty of chocolate. Dark chocolate. Yeah. Dark chocolate is high in flavanols, which have a blood thinning effect. And this contributes to healthy blood vessels and decreases inflammation. So what you're looking for is dark chocolate with at least 70% cocoa, also called cacao. I add raw cacao to my smoothies. And as I mentioned earlier, we have a couple recipes tonight that call for raw cacao. So I have usually at least 2 tablespoons a day. And it tastes good. And then the 5th suggestion is drink moderate amounts of alcohol. Drinking alcohol in moderation can increase HDL, which is the good cholesterol. It can thin the blood to prevent blood clotting, and it also can decrease inflammation. So the suggestion is up to 1 drink a day for women and up to 2 drinks a day for men younger than 65. So, eating healthy, in this case, includes eating chocolate and drinking alcohol. Sounds like a fantastic diet.
Yeah.
You should put that in your marketing materials.
I should. Eat chocolate all day long and drink alcohol. So those are just some suggestions for keeping our hearts healthy. Do you guys have any questions around that?
Nope.
Okay.
One question about the cacao is it called cacao or whatever if it's got over 70%, or is that just what it's called and you want to look for it at 70%?
If you're buying chocolate, like pre-made chocolate, you want to look for 70%. And I believe it's called cacao when it's raw. When it's been processed or made into something else, it'll say cocoa, C-O-C-O-A. And when you're buying, let's say, a chocolate bar, you want to look for a bar that's at least 70% chocolate or cocoa. You also, let's say you're buying a chocolate bar. You don't want to buy something that's got high sugar content. So look for that. The dark chocolate tends to be less sweet and more bitter than milk chocolates. But I know for me, it took me a little while, but I eventually got used to the flavor and I prefer it now. Okay, so I wanted to talk to you guys. We've talked about food a lot, but I really want to talk about drinking water. Now, do you guys drink water?
Yes, I do. I try to drink 70 ounces every day.
Nice. And what about for you, Ken?
Yes, I've known over the past 20 years I've switched a lot from sodas and high, sugary stuff over to mostly water. But now that you've mentioned it, lately I've kind of switched to unsweet tea a lot, so
Uh-huh.
I guess I could just switch that over to water, back to water again.
Water is probably next to it shares the number one spot. I might even say water is number one for health. And why is that? Like, what are some reasons why water is really good for us?
It helps eliminate waste
Yeah,
and toxins in your body.
big time. What else does it do for us?
I mean,
Keep us
something simple is, I
hydrated.
mean, it hydrates, yeah.
Yeah, it does. What happens? What are some symptoms that we might get if we're dehydrated?
Headaches.
Yep.
I get hungry.
Yep.
So that's something that kind of threw me a little bit about this whole not drinking right before you eat, because, you know, don't they say if you're trying to lose weight to have some water, and then if you have a little while later, if you're still hungry, then eat. If not, you're just thirsty.
Yes, they do.
So,
Um, and you can wait 20 minutes. You have some water, wait 20 minutes. If you're still hungry, then you can eat. But it also helps with fatigue. A lot of times people get that slump at like 3 or 4 in the afternoon, and they drink a cup of coffee or they have a sugary snack. It's just dehydration. So drinking water increases our energy. It boosts, decreases fatigue. It helps with weight loss. And as you pointed out, it can reduce hunger because you may not actually be hungry. You may just be thirsty. It removes waste from our bodies. It flushes out toxins. It improves our skin complexion. It moisturizes us from the inside out. So sometimes people, they think they've got wrinkles and they might need Botox or whatever, but really they just need to drink more water. I notice it with myself. If I'm dehydrated, I look 10 years older. Another really important function of water is that it helps us stay regular with our bowel movements. A lot of people get constipated because they're just not drinking enough water. They're dry, so their poop gets dry. Water boosts our immune system. Also by flushing out the toxins. It can prevent muscle cramps and sprains. Often if we get a muscle cramp when we're working out, it's because we're dehydrated. And water's cheap. Sometimes free if you're drinking tap water. So a lot of times it'll just save us money on instead of spending money on expensive drinks. I mean, like the sports drinks, they are not cheap. And so by just having water and maybe adding some lemon or some fruit or some salt or whatever we need, it can actually save ourselves money by just drinking water. So those are a few reasons to consume more water. Now, Natalie, you said you drink 70 ounces of water a day. How did you figure that amount?
There's a formula that I read somewhere where you take your weight, you divide it by 2, and the number that you get, that's the amount of ounces you need.
Yeah. Another really good way to know if you're drinking enough water is look at your pee. If it has an odor, or if you really want as clear as possible, urine. So if your urine's not clear, you're not drinking enough water. And it's funny because just reading this article reminded me, out here it's really hot. And I drink tons of water. I'm drinking at least a gallon of water a day at the moment. And it's still not enough.
Wow.
Yeah, my pee is still not clear. So I need to drink more water. And just like anything, it was based on bioindividuality. So there may be a formula that says drink half your body weight in ounces, but that may not be enough for you, or it may be plenty. It's just, check with your body and see what your body is letting you know.
Yeah, that normally works for me.
Awesome. That's perfect. All right, so water, water, water. Muy importante. All right, so now I want to do a quick review of some of the concepts that we've been looking at throughout the course. And we just talked a little bit about, there's a formula for drinking water, but you need to check in with your body and see what works for you. And that brings us to bioindividuality. So do you guys remember that concept of bioindividuality? What is that referring to?
How your body just reacts to food and how much you need versus how little you need.
That's part of it. Yep. What else is within the umbrella concept of bioindividuality? What it's referring to, and what you said is accurate, Natalie. But it's just that anything is individual for each person. So there's no formula. There's no one formula in anything that will apply to every single human being. And the key to really learning about our own health and to having the most vitality is by learning our body and how it responds to what we eat and drink and what we think and what we do. And keeping in mind that our body changes. So what worked for us today may not work for us tomorrow. And the important thing is to always pay attention to what your body's telling you. Like with me and my water consumption. I'm drinking more water than I did when I was living in Florida, but it's obviously not enough. And if I said, well, I used to drink this much and it was fine, then I'm not going to be listening to my body now. So that's bioindividuality. We also talked about carbohydrates, fats, and proteins, the three main macronutrients, and the proportions that we want to add those into our diets. So let's just do a quick run through around what carbohydrates are and what they're used for in the body. Ken? You still with us?
He probably can't answer.
Oh, yeah, he might be. Okay. So, Natalie, do you want to just remind us what carbohydrates are, where foods we get them from, and what they're used for in the body?
Carbohydrates, well, there's vegetable carbs, and then there's synthetic carbs. Like pastas and stuff like that, and potatoes.
Well, when you say
broccoli,
synthetic.
Well, pre-made. Not when I say synthetic, I mean what's the word?
Processed?
I'm looking for. Processed. Sorry, yeah, that's the word I was looking for. Processed. So man-made, I guess.
Okay. The way I like to look at carbohydrates is simple and complex. The simple carbohydrates are the ones that are more highly processed. They break down into sugar more quickly, so they raise our blood sugar levels. Those would be stuff like sugary snacks, pasta, white rice. White potatoes don't count in that category. They're actually a complex carbohydrate when they're whole. If it's mashed potatoes, it would be a simple carb. But if it's a whole white potato, then you're getting
baked.
Yes, you're getting the fiber and you're getting the nutrients that will help slow down the processing of the sugars. So I tend to just divide them up into simple and complex, which to me just makes it a little easier. Carbohydrates are used for fuel in our body. We need carbohydrates. If we get too much of them, they get stored as fat. So that's where we just want to pay attention to the balance of having enough to give us plenty of energy, but not overeating the carbs so that we start storing them as fat. All right. Let's talk
So
a
it would be
little.
more like if you were to eat just complex carbs, that would be fine, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
And pretty much if you're eating whole foods, if you're eating whole fruits and vegetables, whole grains, you're getting complex
You're
carbs.
eating complex carbs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and those are also a good source of fiber. And we talked a little bit about fiber when we talked about heart health and just health in general. Fiber helps clean out it's what really kind of, I don't want to say lubricates, but gets the elimination system working. And if we're not getting rid of garbage, then we're full of garbage.
Yeah.
And that in Ayurveda, they always look to the elimination system first. And if you always have to make sure that's functioning properly.
Yeah, that's the next thing I'm going to be dabbling in.
Ayurveda or your elimination system?
Ayurveda.
It's fascinating. It's very interesting when you look at all the different modalities and thought processes of food. But what it always comes back to, which is eat whole foods. This is what Michael Pollan said, which I love. Whole foods, mostly plants, and cook your own.
Right.
Ayurveda is really great because they use a lot of spices that have healing properties. So, Indian food, we think, Indian food is so tasty. And you probably in Trinidad probably get a lot of I know you guys get a lot of the Indian spices.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, my cupboard's full of them.
But they also have a lot of medicinal qualities, which is very cool. All right, so we talked a little bit about carbohydrates. Let's touch on protein. And I think you were not on the call for protein, but you probably know a fair bit about it just from your work with Dr. Beck.
Yeah.
So just tell me a little bit about what you know about protein.
They're building blocks for your body, for your muscles. There's different types of protein. There's plant protein, there's animal protein. Which I'm still doing my research where I told you about my, with my cholesterol and stuff. And I'm just kind of dabbling more of how to eat, more vegetarian meals, but I'm just very still confused about plant proteins and how to combine stuff.
From the
that's kind of what I'm working on too.
Yeah, from the research that I've done with the plant protein. So protein consists of amino acids. There are 20 amino acids, 9 of which are essential, which means we have to get them from the foods that we eat.
Right.
The two different types of protein that I kind of look at are complete proteins, or high quality protein they're often called, and incomplete protein, which is the proteins that you need to combine in order to get the essential amino acids. Now, through my research, what I've discovered is that the complementary amino acids don't have to be eaten in the same meal. And
that's where I'm getting confused.
Yeah. And this makes a difference for the blood sugar balancing also. Because where I went wrong when I started trying to incorporate more plant-based sources of protein was I would have, let's say, beans and rice in the same meal.
That's where I went wrong. And I was carving it up.
Yeah. And that did not work for me at all.
No, it did not work for me either.
So what we can do is let's say, lentils and vegetables and then a high quality fat in one meal. Okay. And then in the next
that's what I need to learn a little bit more because I'm totally lost there. But yeah, so like lentils, veggies, and when you say fat, like maybe have avocado on the side?
Yep. Avocado, you
Okay.
can add some sesame oil for flavor. You can add cook it with coconut oil.
So like your black beans and rice, like what I used to have, you'd have like black beans with a sweet potato.
That's really high in carbs, though.
That's too high. Okay. Okay.
You're doing
Yeah,
carb
that's right.
carb.
Yeah, that's where I keep like, okay, it's kind of hard because you know you're accustomed eating like that, and
Yeah.
it's like, okay, what do I do? So I tend to stick to like Dr. Beck's. It's like, some protein and vegetables.
Yeah,
And
I mean,
sometimes I think I do myself, in by not having any like enough carb. Where, like vegetables you'll get carbs, if maybe it's not enough, and sometimes that's why I still wake up tired. So
yeah,
it's a balancing act.
you have to play with that balancing act.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've had to play with it, and it has changed through my work with her. Like in the beginning, I couldn't. I mean, I was so sensitive to carbs.
Yeah, me too.
And then as my blood sugar gets more and more balanced, and depending on my activity levels too.
Mm-hmm.
If I work out or I go for a run or I do yoga one day, then I'm going to need more carbs because I need more energy.
Yeah.
But if I'm not, so like if I know, let's say I know I'm going to go for a run the next day, I'll add a few extra carbs into my food for that day.
And that's where I think I'm falling down. It's just like it requires so much thinking sometimes that I just, I
It's
feel stressed sometimes.
it's a full-time job.
And but it's not only for me, it's for my husband too, and then his needs aren't the same as mine.
It's like it's intense.
It is. It is. That's why sometimes I think I could just get like a personal chef.
Yeah. I tell you, if I wasn't a chef, I would probably have like a meal plan service or something.
Yeah, I've actually seriously looked into that.
Yeah.
Um, my husband would probably get a conniption, but I mean, when you really think about it, instead of going to the grocery store and just paying somebody to make all the meals and just bring it to you and you just eat whatever it is, I'm seriously thinking of doing some research on that.
Yeah. Let me think. I'll remember. My friend highly recommends a company in Fort Lauderdale, and I will.
Okay.
I'll
Yeah,
post.
definitely send me that info.
I will. She's a fitness professional. She's like not bodybuilding. They have like a bikini class, which isn't the big bulky.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So she does that. She's a competitor. And so she's highly
Okay.
conscious of her food. She's a personal trainer, and she really recommends this company. So I will
Oh yeah, definitely send that to
hook
me.
you up. But it's, and because of how time consuming the planning is, that's why I keep stressing repeating meals, like finding what works for you and sticking to that
Right.
and doing that prep ahead of time.
Yeah.
Because that's the
Yeah.
only way I found that I could function.
It definitely doesn't take much to fall off the bandwagon.
No.
And especially if you're not feeling good and stuff, and you're like, what am
Mm.
I doing? What do I have to fine tune? Because I mean, there was a point where I was just feeling top notch, and
Mm-hmm.
then I just got sick, and then menopause started really kicking in, and now I feel just all over the place. So
Yeah.
I just got to get back on track again.
Yesterday I told you a little earlier that I've been having these I'm still having jet lag, so I wake up at these crazy times. So I'm like, I ate breakfast. I had a really good breakfast. A couple hours later, I think I had a protein bar. And then my new boss called and they said he wanted to see me in an hour. So I got there and it took me extra time to get there. And then I thought, oh, well, I'll just see him and then I'll eat. I ended up waiting 3.5 hours to see him.
Oh no.
Spent probably, I don't know, an hour and a half with him. By the time I could get some food, it had been 12 hours. I was ready to burst into tears. I was so unhappy.
Yeah,
And,
I know.
and
That's how I get to.
It had nothing to do with anything except for the fact that I hadn't eaten.
You know when I started doing those Go Macro bars that
Yeah.
I showed you?
Mm-hmm.
I keep them in my purse now. I feel like a little old lady, but I keep them in my purse. You know, the little ladies have crackers and they're, little crackers, so I'm putting those in my bag now.
I brought bars with me to Dubai. I was
love
like,
those.
I have got to have my protein bars. The Go Macro, I found, for me, I can't remember what it was. I think that there was the nuts or there was something in them that didn't work for me. But I
Oh,
found
really? I love them. I love
it was
them.
tasty, but
Great.
yeah, it didn't quite work. But I found I think I posted the link in the group, the Rise sunflower and cinnamon.
Okay, I haven't tried that. Have you tried the green bars too? They're like with all the greens in it and it's covered in dark chocolate.
Yeah, but they're not high enough in protein for me.
Okay, those are really good too.
Yeah. I try and get like 12 to 15 grams of protein in my bars.
Okay. Okay.
But
And then
yeah,
how do you eat those? Do you eat those when you're going to work out?
I eat them
Or
as a snack. They're an emergency food and they're a snack.
okay. And you said it's the Rise bars that you get?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I posted them in the Facebook group. I get them from
Okay.
Vitacost. Yep.
All right, okay. Okay.
Yeah, so the eating on time
Oh yeah.
is like paramount.
Oh, definitely. That it is to me too, because that's happened to me where like this morning I didn't eat breakfast and I was having heartburn.
Yeah.
And on top of because I've been having problems anyway, so I'm creating more problems for myself.
Yeah. Yeah. And I know just from personal experience, I know how it can be stressful trying to stay on top of the food thing. But if I
Yeah.
don't stay on top of the food thing, my whole life is stressful.
Yeah, that's what I'm starting to realize too. And it's you go away for a weekend or something, and then Sundays is when I do my shopping, and then the week starts, and you're like, oh. So
yeah, it's that fine balance, and that was the whole genesis of this course of this 5 weeks, because I know how challenging it is for all of us. All right.
I'm starting to think that I'm just gonna hire somebody and just like this is what my needs are. Please just take care of me.
You know what? It's definitely not the worst thing you could do for yourself and your husband.
I know. Yeah, he'll probably gripe about the money and how much it'll cost us, but I'll have to convince him. I'm starting to do my my personal trainer on Sunday, so
Yay!
we'll see if that helps me along with some stuff.
Yeah, and just something that I know I had to be really careful of was putting the food thing first.
Right.
Because if I wasn't fueling myself properly, working out just didn't work for me anyway.
Yeah.
So the food thing, it's the number one important building block for everything else in my life.
When my blood sugar gets low, it's horrible. And
Yeah.
I always kick myself. I'm like, why did I do this to myself? I know better.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm starting to keep those bars in my purse.
Oh, heck yeah. I do not leave the house without, except yesterday I did. I had my bar on the way to my meeting. And then I didn't have it.
Put two, yeah.
I know. Now I'm like, I got to carry 2 bars in my purse.
2.
All right.
We're like little old ladies.
Oh, man. But you know what? It's okay, because it's what I need to do to take care of myself. And when I do it, I'm great.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's true.
I want to touch on fat a little bit, because just now we talked a little bit about fat, and I know that you're being conscious of what you're eating for your cholesterol levels.
Cholesterol. Yeah, and that's the other thing too, that I'm kind of like, I don't think I'm getting enough fat, but then, you get told don't eat too much fat because it's cholesterol. Yeah, there's so much stuff out there. One person tells you one thing, another person tells you another thing, and you're like, I really don't know what the right thing is.
I know. From my understanding, if you're sticking to quote unquote the healthy fats, you're looking at fats that are high in omega-3s, those will not have, they'll have actually a positive effect on your cholesterol levels, and they'll satisfy your body's need for fat. So some of the suggestions would be salmon,
Right.
sardines, herring, flax and hemp seed oils, walnuts, Brazil nuts, and sea vegetables.
Yeah, I have to experiment with some sea vegetables. I'm not really versed on it, and I'd like to dabble in that.
Oh, I'll have to give you, I have this recipe. Man, it's perfect because it's super, super easy, of course, my favorite. It's just wakame, which is you get it dried from the supermarket. It
Right.
takes 5 minutes to hydrate it. Then I add cucumbers, I add tomatoes, I add avocado. I use a little sesame oil, a little lime juice, sometimes some sesame seeds, and some rice vinegar.
Okay. Yeah, definitely send that to me because I
so
love
it-
seaweed salad.
Yeah, it's super tasty, super easy, and it's got all the good stuff.
Okay. Cool.
The thing with the fats, you mentioned earlier, little achy muscles. Fat, if you're not getting enough fat, that could contribute to achy joints and some body aches in general.
Yeah, I don't think I'm getting enough fat,
Yeah.
to tell you the truth. I really don't think because I'm kind of scared of it.
Yeah, I'm the same. I have to really discipline myself.
Yeah, but because I'm still fighting this cholesterol thing, and right now I'm going to an herbalist, and I'm on red yeast rice
Mm-hmm.
because I'm trying to do it that way.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, eat egg whites, not eggs. And then, I have somebody else telling me eat eggs. I'm not quite sure what to do with myself.
Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah, so it kind of puts me in like, all I want is my cholesterol to go down, because to tell you the truth, if all of this stuff does not work after this whole 3 months, I'm going vegan.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, that's going to be the last resort. I'm just going to go balls to the wall vegan,
Yeah.
raw vegan.
Yeah.
And if that doesn't help, then something's definitely wrong with me.
I would, from the research I've done on heart health, the healthy fats will actually help your cholesterol.
Yeah.
I think that we've been programmed to be scared of it.
Yeah.
But if you have that feeling, you're not getting enough fat, that, I would say trust yourself
Right.
and just start adding it in.
Like I'll eat avocado, but how much of the avocado do you eat? Do you eat like half of an avocado in a sitting, or do you eat a quarter of it? I mean,
Yeah.
I'll eat the fat, but how much do you need to eat is what my thing is.
It depends on how big the avocado is.
Okay.
So the little Hass avocados, half an avocado. One of those big old fat Florida avocados, I would do a quarter.
Quarter. Okay, so that's about right, what I've been doing.
Yeah. And I mean, I have fat at every meal. I cook with coconut oil. I put coconut oil
I cook
in my
with coconut,
smoothies.
a tablespoon of coconut oil I'll cook with, but is that enough?
No, not if you're feeding two of you.
Okay.
And if you, especially, let's say you get 4 meals in total out of what you cook, then you're only getting a quarter of a tablespoon, which isn't enough.
Okay, so I'd have to up the amount then, like 2 tablespoons or
At
3.
least 2. Yeah, I'd go as far as you want a tablespoon per portion.
Okay.
Dr. Beck recommends 2 to 4 tablespoons per portion, which I struggle with that.
It's because remember I told you I was on her thing and then my cholesterol shot up.
Yeah.
What the hell's going on? She was surprised. She was like, well, everybody's cholesterol drops. I'm like, well, obviously something's wrong with me.
Well, yeah. I mean, and some people are predisposed. They have a genetic predisposition for high cholesterol.
And that's kind of what I'm trying to figure out.
Which it sounds like
That's
that might
just
be your
the way.
case.
Yeah, but because I was on krill oil and that shot my LDLs up through the roof.
Wow.
But then, so I started taking a fish oil that was higher in EPA stumbled across that information. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
trying that right now, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah. But
I'm,
don't
I'm
be,
definitely not going on medication. They'll have to pin me down and shove it in my throat if, unless
yeah.
I absolutely have to.
Don't be too scared of the healthy fats, though.
Yeah.
Especially if, like, you hear that little voice saying, add me in,
Right.
add them in. All right. What else did I want to look over tonight? Let me just have a quick look here.
And hey, crew, I just want to let you know I'm back. I pulled into my account and he was standing outside, so I had to jump out. So I'm catching up with you.
Okay. So we were just doing a review. We talked about carbs. We talked about protein. We talked about fats. Ken, do you have any questions on any of those?
Not so much. I think when we covered it initially, I got a good handle on it so far, so I'm good.
Good. Okay. All of the documents are in our Facebook group also. I've been posting them there, not to mention emailing them to you. So if you do have questions, you can always refer back to that and review. I want to talk a little bit about meal planning basics, which really was the whole genesis of the course, because I think one of the things that you missed, Ken, was Natalie and I just talking about how it can be really challenging and almost a full-time job to ensure that you're eating well, you're eating balanced meals, you're eating enough, you're eating regularly. What information do you listen to? This guy says eat egg whites, this guy says eat the whole egg. So I just want to talk a little bit about the basics of meal planning, because it can be a full-time job, and that can be stressful, and that can take the fun out of it, and the stress can mitigate the benefits of eating well because we're so stressed about it. So what are the basics? What have you guys picked up over the past few weeks?
One of the things that I got is just make sure you have a little bit of, oh, yeah.
What was that, Natalie?
Oh, plan ahead of time.
Okay, so the planning.
Meals.
Mm-hmm. What about for you, Ken?
And for myself, one of the things is try to have a little bit of, proteins and fiber and fats and everything in every meal, as opposed to, it seems like I used to, whatever I had, I'd eat just, one thing, and, I would not have a good balanced meal. So just trying to have, like I said, protein, fiber, and fats at every meal.
Okay, good. So having balanced meals. What else have you picked up over the past few weeks?
Listen to your body.
Listen to your body. Yeah, what works for you may not work for me. And that brings us back to the bioindividuality concept. What else? Ken, what did you find after we had the first week, and then we had that second week, which didn't go so well for you, and then things picked up a little bit after the third week. So what was the challenge? What did you not do, and then what did you start doing that made the difference?
Well, one of the things that, just all the pressure, like you said, of think of it as a full-time job and trying to do it perfectly as opposed to just doing it as best I could. So if I tried to do it perfectly, it seemed like a big daunting task, and you kind of shrink from it, as opposed to, okay, I might not be able to do everything perfect this week, but maybe I could have a perfect breakfast, and I can plan for that, and the rest of the day can not be as good as it could be, but I'm better than I was 3 weeks ago. And just incorporating the third week was incorporating what I could fit into my schedule and with my level of comfort that I could get done, as opposed to trying to get it all perfect. And that really, really helped.
Yeah, that's great. That whole just not being perfect. Recognizing that we're doing the best we can.
Yep, for sure.
I think something that I know makes a huge difference for me is scheduling time, like actually putting time into my calendar for the planning. and then for the shopping, and then for the cooking, but also for the eating. Because it can be so easy that we think, okay, well, I know I'm going to do some food shopping in the next couple of days, and I'll get to that meal plan when I have a minute, and I'll just sit down and I'll do it. But before we know it, the day's gone by, the weekend has gone by, we're back into the swing of work, and we haven't yet done our shopping for the week. We haven't figured out what we're actually going to eat. And we've scheduled ourselves so busily throughout the week that we didn't even think about stopping for lunch. And then we're right back into that cycle of skipping meals and doing, grabbing something on the go. So a big thing for me is the scheduling time for all of those activities.
I agree completely. If this is going to be something that's important to me, that I have to give it at least as much attention as I would. I find that when the times that I put aside and if I miss my scheduling time, I'm watching something on TV or I'm just kind of futzing around as opposed to, no, it's something that's important and it's only going to take an hour of my time now to plan. Just do it. So I kind of get upset at myself for wasting time, but yeah, I understand completely.
Yeah, we all do it, and it's building that muscle, but definitely is important. So that brings me to the next point that you guys, I keep harping on this, but make it easy. So my meal planning now, and it's interesting, that image that I sent you guys in the reminder email today, I really liked it because at the pinnacle of the triangle or the pyramid was creativity. So one of the things I really like to underline, especially at the beginning of the course, was don't worry about being too creative. Let's start with eating regular meals and well-balanced meals and find some easy go-to favorites. And, like the chicken sausages are a perfect example. I used to have those. I mean, I ate a lot of chicken sausages, but they were fantastic for a meal. They were fantastic for snacks. And my main goal wasn't to make the most creative meal each time I sat down at the table. It was to feed myself. So one of the real basics that I think are important are find your favorites, base this week's meal plan off of what you did last week, and then, maybe once a week, add in a more challenging recipe or something more creative until you get a level of mastery and a level of comfort where it's effortless. And then your meals, it takes less planning and you just do your shop and you kind of make food from what you've got. But really starting with the basics and the easy meals, I think, is really important. And in spicing things up and making more creative meals, something that I encourage everyone to try is pick a different herb or a spice each week. And that will help you with expanding your repertoire, but not overburdening. Speaking of which, Ken, have you used any of the stuff that you picked up from me?
Well, the portobello mushrooms were perfect. And everything else, I'm kind of like, I'm displaying it currently in the kitchen and kind of looking at it. I'm trying to figure out, what am I going to do with all this? So, yeah, it's kind of taking, like you said, looking at the spices and maybe picking one or two to add into the rotation, as opposed to looking at it as one big, wonderful Christmas morning dump of food, So I'm trying to, like I said, pick one and try it and know where it works and where it doesn't and kind of add it in. Yeah,
yes, definitely start with one. Turmeric is a great place to start because you can add that into tons of things. It doesn't have a strong flavor, but it's got great anti-inflammatory properties.
Turmeric?
Turmeric.
Okay, done.
So that's a great one. I'll just like sprinkle it onto some, let's say I'm doing chicken. actually, what I did this week, when I came to my apartment, there was some garam masala in the cupboard. And I didn't want to do a huge shop when I first got here, so I figure, okay, well, I'm going to use garam masala this week. That's my spice for this week. And I put it on shrimp, I put it on chicken, and it's great. So just pick one and play with it. All right, so those are just some of the basics that I think make it easier to simplify the whole meal planning, because it can be so overwhelming when we look at the whole picture, especially if we have health issues that we're dealing with. Then it just adds like a whole new twist to it. So keeping to the basics, I find, makes it doable. Now, do you guys have, this is the chance for open questions. And we talked about heart health today, and we talked about, I wanted to show you some recipes that correspond to what we talked about a little bit today. And I had posted a couple recipes in the Facebook group already, and they're actually sweets. I know I haven't done many sweets, but these are sweets that are healthy. They're good for you. Every single ingredient has health benefits, which is awesome. And I have, let's see here, what did we want to do? We have a recipe for baked salmon, which is great for heart health. And this is super tasty and super simple. It's just, let me show my screen here. It's just some salmon, some garlic, olive oil, fresh basil, some parsley, and some lemon, and a herbal seasoning blend if you have it. And it's a bake. You just you marinate it for 20 minutes, shove it in some aluminum foil, put the marinade on top, and bake it for 20 minutes. And that is really delicious, actually. I was shocked. So that's a great little simple recipe. We have a recipe for quinoa spring vegetable salad with walnuts and mint. We talked about the role that fiber plays in our cholesterol levels, and we talked about walnuts being a healthy source of omega-3s, which are a great source of fat, which also is great for our heart health. And this is a pretty simple recipe, which is really tasty. And it includes some vegetables. It calls for asparagus and snap peas in the recipe, but you can put any vegetable, whatever you've got. So I really like that one. And then we also have a recipe for white bean soup, which is awesome for making a big pot, and you can feed off of it for a few days, or you can put some in the freezer. And this is a complete meal in itself right here. You've got beans, you've got I put some gluten-free pasta in there, so you have a little carbs, you've got some, the only thing it's missing would be, I would do some greens on the side, some extra vegetables on the side. You can even throw some kale or something into the soup. So we've got a few different recipes for this week. And have you guys started to think about your plan for next week?
I have not.
When are you going to do that?
I have it scheduled for tomorrow.
Okay. Excellent. Excellent. And do you have some ideas around what you might cook? Do you have any special occasions coming up this week?
Not so much. I'm actually heading out of town on vacation on Friday, so it's basically just a Monday to Friday thing. So not really thought too far ahead.
Cool. Have you thought a little bit about how you're going to maintain your eating habits while you're away?
I have not.
Do you remember when we talked about eating on the go? I think it was last week.
I do pretty good at most restaurants that I go to as far as, trying to eat healthier and green and all that kind of stuff. But I guess I don't remember exactly what was said as far as eating on the go.
Yeah, that's okay. So some of what I find useful is bring some protein bars or something, some kind of a snack with you.
Okay.
One of the big mistakes I made when I went to California was I assumed, especially California, I was like, oh, I'll be able to find what I need, no problem. It took me days to find suitable protein bars for me that would do for a snack. And when I'm going to new places, finding restaurants, the whole deal, you don't always get to eat when you need to eat.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, and what I did this time coming to Dubai, especially made sure, like one of the things I made sure I had was some protein bars that I packed so that I didn't have to worry about it. So bring some kind of a snack with you, and you've always got that. Also, in restaurants, and it sounds like you've got that pretty covered, but don't be afraid to ask for what you want from the waiters. So if you don't see it on the menu, it doesn't mean that the kitchen can't or won't do it. Just create your own meal out of what you see.
Okay. And I've kind of noticed that with some of the protein bars that I've bought, a lot of them are chocolate-based. And with me being in the car and also with me being out sightseeing next weekend, it's no fun to try and eat a gooey, chocolate melted mess. It's probably delicious, but try and find something that's not chocolate or chocolate coated.
I am pretty sure I posted a link to some bars that I get from Vitacost. They are not chocolate, and they do well in the heat.
I will look it up on Vitacost.
Just check the Facebook group because there's a link right there to the bars.
I've been doing the Vigo ones, and they're really tasty. They're pretty good, but all the ones that I've bought have been chocolate.
Yes, I had that problem with them, actually, with the Vega bars. But these other ones are not as tasty, but they get the job done, and they don't have chocolate.
Sold.
So that's really important. So, plan, again, it's all about planning for success. Have some protein bars, maybe bring some nuts and some dried fruit with you, and just keep them in the glove box of your car. Because especially if you're out sightseeing, if you're with friends, you're with other people, you're more, you're not always in control of the timing. So just plan for success. All right, so you're going to be planning from Monday to Friday, or even Monday to Thursday. Natalie, have you had any chance I know you said you usually do your shopping on Sundays. Is that correct?
Sundays, yeah. So that's what I'm going to be doing.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
and it's going to be a little different because my husband's going to be out of town for 2 weeks, so traveling. So, yeah, I'm going to be trying to figure out probably cooking and then just freezing is probably what I'm going to be doing.
This is a great opportunity for you to really get some clarity about what's going to work for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's pretty
what
cool.
I'll be working on.
Yeah. So I know from our discussion, something that you can, really be aware of this week when you're making your meals is making sure you get enough healthy fat.
Yeah.
Don't be scared. Awesome. So what are the top 3 takeaways, not just about meal planning, but what are the top 3 takeaways that you're taking away from this course?
I'm going to have to say definitely the importance of planning. Because if you don't, then you definitely won't have anything to eat, or you'll eat badly. Let's see. The recipes have definitely been just great because of like the fish stew. Like I made that for my husband. He does not really eat fish, and he loves it. He had second helpings. So definitely, that kind of helped him eat fish more.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm gonna have to say with the when you had Lori, I think, on with the protein and working out.
Oh, the trainer, Jen.
Properly, yeah, like with the fruit and
Mm.
You know, because normally I'd eat just a banana and choose like half a banana and almond milk, or, you know, just not all fruit, which I would have never, you know, done.
Great. Yeah, that I was surprised.
And our fat talk today.
Yeah, definitely, especially bananas. They're so high in sugar. I can't even eat bananas. But always, yeah, if I ever have fruit, I definitely make sure I have like a handful of nuts or just something that's going to slow down the glucose. So good, excellent. Ken, what are the top 3 takeaways?
I have to echo and say number one is just planning. And I've seen the benefits of planning, and I've seen what happens when you don't plan. The second thing is, you know, your attitude of just try it. You know, just get out there and try it, see how it works. And if it, you know, if it works, incorporate it. If not, then you realize, you know, not to incorporate it. So I like that aspect of it. And I had a great third one. It'll come back to me. You know, it's simple, but, you know, food is your fuel, and, you know, it's what you put in it. It's like, you know, certain things that you put in your body, even if they're good things, you know, will affect your body in this way. So it's, you know, if you're hungry and you grab for something that's going to, you know, make you drowsy or, you know, kind of sap your energy or put you in a food coma, that's what you're going to get. So it's like being smarter about even the good foods that I put in my body for the desired effect.
That's great. Do you feel like you've gotten a better grasp of the effect that those good foods will have, or any foods will have on you, so that you're able to make smarter choices?
I am able to make those smarter choices. If you look at my actions, I'm still not there yet, but I'm working on it. But for sure, and, you know, like you're just mentioning a moment ago, the bananas and you know, things like that, and some of the foods that I should eat before I go to the gym, so I have the more desired energy after the gym, and that type of thing. So it's something that you kind of know, but it really was not anything that I was too cognizant of or had the handy intelligence to actually work with, and I think I've got more of that now.
Great. You know, and we are all a work in progress. So I'm going to keep the Facebook group open, and I will continue to post recipes in there. And I would really like to continue to hear how you guys are progressing with everything that you've been working with. And I am very grateful that you guys chose to work with me, and that I got to really just share this with you and watch what, you know, as you progressed and were able to incorporate more things into your eating.
Yeah, thank you. I really appreciate it. This was helpful very much. And let me know if you're going to do any more classes, because I want to sign my mom up.
I will, once I get settled and I have a better idea of everything.
Time, yeah.
Yeah, I will. What I'd like to do is I just want to close with those promises that we make to ourselves, so that hopefully they will resound in your mind as we move forward over the next, you know, weeks, months, and years. And just, you know, remember how important your body is, and how the food that we put in our bodies are the single most effective way we can support our body and our health. So if Natalie, if you just want to take 3 promises, we'll just alternate 3.
Oh, hello?
Oh, can you hear me?
Oh, yeah, I just kind of like blanked out there for a second. I promise to honor you as the temple of my soul. I promise to offer you healthy foods and drinks. I promise to realize that you deserve to be healthy.
I also promise to overcome the addictions that hurt you. I promise to love and appreciate you for what you do. And I promise to accept that I have the power to heal you.
Me again?
Yep.
I promise to adorn you with nice, comfortable clothes and shoes. I promise to realize that laughter, play, and rest help you feel good. I promise to exercise regularly and appropriately for my body type.
I promise to accept you and be grateful for you, just the way you are. I promise to listen to the messages you are sending me when you are hurt or sick. And I promise to understand that my unexpressed emotions and thoughts affect you. I love you so much. All right, guys. Well, the recordings, I'll post this next recording up in the next day or two, and all the recordings for the calls are in the group, as well as all of the handouts. And if you have any questions, don't hesitate to get in touch. And I will see you online.
All right. Well, keep in
Great,
touch.
Rachel. Thank you.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you. Take care.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.